Good afternoon. So we'll start with our psychology class in 45 days. Complete coverage of psychology UPSC syllabus in 45 days. So we are covering it according to PTQ, prepared through questions, primarily focusing mostly on the syllabus and PYQs, not missing out on aspects which are important for the examination. Like suppose some questions have not been asked in the previous year questions, we are taking 20 years questions. Some topics are not explicitly mentioned in the syllabus, but it is implicitly asked in the exam. We are covering that as well. Fine. So how to do this, how to ensure that your coverage is complete? Today we are going to cover our research method chapter. So RM chapter, research method, and after that we'll take measurement of individual differences, which is there in paper 2 chapter 1. As I have told you, methods of psychology, which we have already covered, these three chapters: methods of psychology, research methods, and measurement of individual differences. These three chapters are primarily taken as mathematics chapters, which is a completely flawed way of looking at psychology chapters. If you look at the paper of 2023, you will realize that the questions which were asked from these chapters, all of them were one, simple, two, conceptual, and three, applied. Don't forget that the questions were asked from complete syllabus, that is each and every topic, subtopic mentioned in the syllabus was appearing in the question paper 2023 especially, and this has been the trend since 2013. What is missing in the preparation of most of the aspirants is that they are leaving certain topics. They don't focus on the syllabus, they don't focus on the PYQs, they don't analyze anything, which requires a little bit of hard work. Then compared to those aspirants who just get up from their room in Rajendra Nagar and they reach to a certain coaching where psychology is being taught, they know the brand is very famous, without realizing what are the pitfalls, without realizing what are the problems, they just reach to the coaching, and whatever is taught, they just focus on that entire content. The unfortunate fact is that the entire content is not relevant, 70% is irrelevant. Then out of the 30%, again you have to organize each and everything. Then finally, to do well in the examination, it is very, very important that you organize your material in this format: concept, application, merit, and demerit. CMD approach I have already suggested, and many of the students have already organized in this. The second thing which I have suggested to you is that for each and every topic you should have 3-4 points, not more than that. 3-4 relevant points for each and every topic and subtopic mentioned in the syllabus. After that, you should focus on revising it again and again. You should focus on complete coverage. Once you cover the complete syllabus and you have done your homework on those 3-4 points, you'll be able to do the interlink. Then what you should focus on is your test series. Now in the tests also, it is very important that your conceptual understanding, the structure of the answer, the flow of the answer is evaluated. The marks are given not just to give the marks, but the marks are given to ensure that pinpointing your flaws, whatever flaws you are having in terms of concept, in terms of structuring and organization of the answer, or in terms of the flow of the answer, so that the examiner who is reading the answer completely gets mesmerized, lost in the flow of the answer. The answer is very well presented on the paper presentation. You see, every student has one or the other strength, but largely speaking, if your presentation is good, you have cleared prelims done. And let me tell you, prelims is not about so much of what is being made now. Prelims is mostly about your knowledge and whatever practice you have done. If you have done a good practice on the syllabus, you'll be able to get through. Because see, a large number of people are getting selected. It's not that one student is getting selected. 14,000, such a big number. How many are appearing? 5 to 6 lakh sitting for the examination. Out of that, how many are sincere aspirants? 25k to 30k. But if you have that problem of basic reading, you don't understand a paragraph, you can't analyze a paragraph, you have no coverage of the syllabus, you have not covered the syllabus from the mains point of view, then you will definitely not be able to clear prelims easily. For those who have cleared prelims but they are struggling in mains, the problem is that they have again not covered the syllabus uh, from the mains perspective. Now you have covered the prelims. After that, you are good in organization. One. Secondly, you are good in your maintaining the flow of the answer. You will be through if you don't abuse anybody in the interview. It is simple, but the thing is that there are so many problems. Like we say that there are so many slips between the cup and the lip. Even if the tea is prepared, you are having it, there are so many slips which may come up. So these eventualities make it a little dicey. But saying that it is completely unpredictable is not true. What is true is that these things are not focused upon. You always run after content, knowledge and all. Okay, so these things I keep on saying in each and every class so that you get reminded of the reality of the examination and you don't get lost in the cacophony, the clutter, the noise which is being created by the market. Okay, so what we'll do now is we will see this research method chapter. In the research method chapter, again, what I suggest you go through the syllabus. What does our syllabus mention? The syllabus says major steps in a psychological research. Major steps. So now what the problem is, what is psychological research? What is the essence of psychological research? Why do we do the research? Most of the things are covered in the methods in psychology, methods of psychology, which was the previous chapter. In these steps, there are various sub steps, right? Problem statement. After that comes your hypothesis formulation. After hypothesis formulation, you will have research design. From them, you will have the sampling technique, then data collection, and finally analysis, interpretation and report writing. These steps we'll see in great detail. Again, when I say great detail, it is actually great detail, but it is relevant from the point of view of the examination. Okay, so customized from the point of view of the examination. Fine. And whatever you are lacking, whatever problem you are lacking, the personalization of the content will be done through what? Done through the test series. The test which you write, it will be giving you the personalized input. Fine. So these are the steps. First thing which you can see in the syllabus. You all have the syllabus. Then after that, what is the second topic? The second topic is fundamental versus applied research, or pure versus applied research. So here we are learning about the two types of researches which are done in any of the social sciences. The pure research, as we have seen, already covered, we'll cover it again. Pure research which is done to enrich the discipline just for the sake of doing research without having proper application in mind. This is done in a quantitative manner in an experimental manner. Largely it is lab based. Applied research, on the other hand, solves the purpose of psychology, which under the garb of positive psychology, community psychology movement, focuses on solving any particular problem at hand. It has an applied version. Then the applied psychology, applied research primarily is qualitative in nature. That is, it focuses on gathering attitude, belief, opinion of a group of subjects, and the subjects are people. Now, moreover, what else? In the applied research, whatever is the output, it does not give any theory. It may give a certain tentative hypothesis, which is again formulated, proven by the pure research. So applied research helps pure research, and pure research also helps applied research. This is the cycle which is followed. 3-4 points mentioned here. Again we'll discuss. But remember, these 3-4 points are enough to cover your answer. We'll go back to our various steps. We'll see in the next section. After that, we'll come to methods of data collection. Now, these methods of data collection. Methods. There are so many methods. What are primarily mentioned in your syllabus is interview, observation, questionnaire. We have covered all these. Apart from that, we have covered case study also. These three have been covered in the previous section. Methods of psychology. From there you can pick it. Then comes your research design. There are two types of research design. One is your ED, experimental design, and then your ex post facto. Ex post facto is largely nothing but correlational design. Correlation. Okay. So what we are actually focusing on is experimental design has been covered. Under the experimental design, we have seen the essence of IV, DV, and EV. The examples also we have seen. Experimental design, quantitative in nature, lab based in nature, primarily helps pure research, that is fundamental research. Ex post facto, correlational design. Now, a basic fundamental understanding of this experimental design and ex post facto design is that here this is causation. Experimental design focuses on cause and effect, and the correlational design does not focus on cause and effect but focuses more on the correlation. That is, one factor, one variable giving rise to another variable, but one variable not actually causing another variable. So that is correlational. Causation versus correlation is one of the questions which has been repeated again and again. As you know, in the social sciences discipline, especially in psychology, being a behavioral science which focuses on human behavior, which is quite subjective, we cannot measure it in an absolute way. The scale of absolutity is not there. Zero scale is not possible. Ratio scales are not there. So, because of these limitations, apart from the fact that there are certain ethical limitations also, most of the studies in psychology are your quasi-experimental design, QED, non-experimental design, and correlational. Correlational in nature, largely. So, what the question has asked is how we can move from causation to correlation. Causation is experimental design, correlation is correlational designs, focusing mainly on non-experimental designs. Descriptive study, descriptive case study, just describing the factors but not resulting into any kind of cause and effect relationship or even correlation. Okay, so that has been the major theme. Another thing which has been asked is research design, which we'll see is a major step in the one of the steps of the psychological research is research design. We'll see where. Just wait. I did show you that is first step is your problem statement. What is problem statement? When we start a psychological research, we give a precise definition to it. Stress during the preparation of civil services results into lowering of performance of the aspirants in later stages of preparation. That is, when they write their second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt, and so on and so forth, their stress is so high that their real performance does not come out. It may or may not be true for each and every personality, because there are certain people who are hardy in nature. When the stress increases, their performance is also really, really great. But there are quite a few. Largely, we believe on Yakis-Dodson theory that optimal performance can be resulted. This is performance, this is your stress. So highest level of performance can be achieved during optimal stress or moderate stress. That also varies from person to person. Largely, when there is stress, you have some faint idea that this examination is very important to me, and that is why I need to work hard. This examination will define my whole success later on in life, and I am doing it because of these reasons. There will be certain stress that will push you towards an optimal performance. Then, if you are overstressed, there are some people who keep on thinking. I met one student 1.5 years ago. He was very keen to meet me. Generally speaking, I don't get much time to meet each and everyone physically. So at that point of time also, I was not very keen to meet, and I was not very free actually. So this person had a conversation with me on phone. Now he took all the tips, how to prepare, how to present the question answer, everything. Promised that he will write all the test series. I made some scholarships for him as well. Now the time has elapsed, 1 year and more has elapsed. He has not even written a single test. Another bright student who took the test series again after some scholarship did not write even a single test. Bright student, I am saying. Where is the problem? The motivation. You are motivated by the reels of certain toppers. You see Ashna Chaudhary in Labasna undergoing training. You see Tina Davi. You are motivated. But this motivation is only limbic. That is, it gives you a high that I may achieve this kind of status. But your prefrontal cortex, that is giving you the planning aspect, it says that okay, I am motivated. Now what? You don't have a plan charted out. If you have a plan charted out, if you have an idea of each and every minute, each and every second of yourself, then you are very, very likely to achieve success. This is what is the bridge, the missing gap. They are achievers. They were motivated. They did the hard work. They planned everything. They were so rational that they even planned the holiday. So smart. You should be smart enough. So that's why if everything is planned, that arousal will be optimal. And I'm again telling you, if you have a plan B perfectly prepared for you in case I fail, it's not a big deal. If you fail, you have this plan prepared for you. Whatever you do, remember that you should always have a plan B prepared for you. Absolutely detailed plan B. Don't be befooled. Don't be fooled by those people who say that you must have a plan A and only an A and keep on struggling till your whole life. Your youth will be wasted. Don't do that. So optimal performance is achieved by those people who are optimally aroused and they maintain their arousal propelled by the limbic system according to the planning done by the prefrontal cortex. If you have the planning done and you are doing the detailed, minute planning, nitty-gritties of it, you have even planned the holidays, you have even planned everything in advance, and you know your reading speed, how much time you take to cover one chapter, accordingly you have planned, nobody can stop you from succeeding if you have done this. It is not unpredictable, it is predictable, but if you do so. Fine. So, you see, we were talking about a problem statement. Okay. Problem statement is a precise definition of a research. You have done the research. You have done your all kinds of case study, all kinds of literature survey. You have gone through all the theories around this stress and performance thing, how stress and performance are related. Any kind of performance, whether it is a performance of the physical nature or a mental nature, stress is affecting both of them. And we know that mind body connection is there, so your stress speaks in your bodily functions as well. This is a noteworthy truth you must have. So don't be stressed, be optimally aroused, have some sense of responsibility, plan everything, you will succeed. Now, after going to the problem statement, doing the literature survey, literature studies, you say, okay, there is some relationship between stress and performance. Fine. Then we reach to a hypothesis. Stress and performance are related for sure, but how are they related? Your tentative assumption. You tend to assume after going through again the detailed literature survey, case study, going through the theories, looking at the practical applications, the examples, all this done, talking to a sample of people, you realize that actually stress and performance are related like this. Optimal stress, highest performance. This is your hypothesis. But the nature of psychology is that you question everything you study. So, being a scientific discipline, or rather, we say, aspiring to become a natural scientific discipline, psychology says, okay, what I assume is that null hypothesis, HO, stress and performance are not related. This is our null hypothesis. What are we supposed to prove is that this null hypothesis is not true. That is, we have to reject this null hypothesis. Once you have understood the essence of these steps, many of the questions you will be doing easily. Like butter. Have you used the butter knife on butter when it is partially melted? When you are having your well cooked paratha with white butter, which I suggest rather than yellow butter, you should have white butter. White butter is better for health. So white butter, just putting the white butter there, absolutely smoothly melting. So that smooth melting is possible only if you have done this work. So this is our null hypothesis. What is our endeavor is that we have to reject the null hypothesis. And once we have rejected the null hypothesis for a sample, for a group of 100 people, we rejected a null hypothesis, and when we do this study for a large scale population of complete India, we'll realize that the truth is that yes, stress and performance are related. So your alternate hypothesis will be HA. First alternate hypothesis, as stress increases, performance decreases. Another alternate hypothesis will be as stress increases, performance increases. Now you see, not everything is there in absolute black and white. So what will happen? Either this is true or this HA is true or HB is true. We have seen that for a certain degree, stress, when it increases, performance decreases after a certain level. But initially this is true. As stress increases, performance increases. If there is no stress at all, zero stress, you know what does zero stress mean? Zero stress means 90% of the population, 90% of the people, or rather, I'm just giving it a very raw figure. If you just look at the basic analysis of 10 lakh, 10 lakh aspirant who fill the form, if you ask me how many are sincere, I'll just give you a figure of 50k. These are the sincere people. And how many are appearing? You see this figure. 1 out of 100 is sincere. 99 people, no stress at all. Just fill the form, not worried. It is not possible that a person is sincere after going through that grind of prelims again and again, not passing it. One attempt, it is possible. Second attempt, maybe. 2-3 attempts, either person will clear or should leave the preparation phase itself. So these sincere people, they have some degree of stress, eustress or a mild stress. What is eustress? Small degree of stress which actually helps to improve your performance, which should be there. If that stress is not there, you will not even function. Eustress. Eustress. Some stress is there, person is performing because there is mild stress, 50k people, not more than that. If you ask me how many are capable and having the mild stress, there are not more than 25k. Capability is one of the factors. If you are completely incapable, then you are preparing for UPSC. Why are you wasting your resources, time, everything? You should have a good judgment of yourself. And don't be fooled by the movies like 12 Fail, the TVF aspirants, 6 attempts. That is called total nonsense. You are wasting your youth to achieve something which will not make you a great person, because at the end of the day you are as a cog in the wheel in the whole system. You cannot move the whole system. Some changes may be brought by you here and there, that too if you are lucky. Otherwise, most of the time you will be serving the politicians and businessmen and do your duty. You will live a good life, no doubt about that. But if you just want to change, make some revolutionary changes in the society, this is not the job for you. Okay, so HA and HB are there, alternate hypothesis. Our idea is that the null hypothesis gets rejected. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll see this matrix. But we have the population. Suppose we want to study the effect of stress on performance of the civil services aspirants. Now, the whole Rajendra Nagar, old Rajendra Nagar prepares for UPSC. Mukherjee Nagar also prepares. Many other Nagars prepare. So we take the Mukherjee Nagar or Rajendra Nagar as population, civil services aspirants, the stress. Because we cannot do our study for each and every one. That is, we cannot do the census. What is census? When the sample is equal to population, when each and everybody is being interviewed, each and every aspirant is interviewed and their stress is measured, then it will be a census which is done in terms of population. Recently caste census was done in one of the states, Bihar. Which is the caste, how many people from that caste are there in higher jobs, what is their per capita income, kind of study. So What we do for the convenience of ourselves, we take a sample. Suppose there are 50k students staying in this vicinity of old Rajendra Nagar, 50,000. We cannot study each and every one, 500 we choose for our convenience. 500 will be how much percentage? 1%. So 1% of the population. Ideally, we should choose some in the vicinity of 4 to 5%, but we choose the 1% for our convenience, or maybe 2%, 1000 students. For 1000 students, the study is done. We see that stress and performance are related. So, for the sample, null hypothesis gets rejected. But when we do the final analysis for all the aspirants, then we may have different results. For the complete population, HO reject may be true. If null hypothesis is rejected and for the complete population it is yes or true, then what will happen? There is no error. Here there is no error, and this situation, the probability of such a situation is called statistical power. This is statistical power or experimenter's heaven. Null hypothesis is rejected for the sample. Null hypothesis gets rejected for the whole population. This is your experimental heaven, or also called statistical power, denoted as 1 minus beta. What is alpha beta? We'll see. Now suppose for the sample we accept the null hypothesis, that is stress and performance are not related. But in the final analysis, we see it is accepted. Will there be an error? Here it is rejected. The null hypothesis is rejected. And in this case, null hypothesis is rejected not only for the sample but for the population as well. And if null hypothesis is rejected for the sample but for the population it is not rejected, then there will be an error. This is the error. What UPSC has been primarily asking you is this statistical power. We'll do this thing in a bit more detail when we are covering the whole syllabus. I'm just giving you a glimpse. From most of the questions are coming from this statistical power. Okay, so we did our problem statement, then we have our hypothesis. After the hypothesis, which is a tentative assumption, we reach to another step which is being asked in the exam again and again. What is the step? Next step is your research design. Now you will ask me, what is research design? Research design is a blueprint. Research design is a planning. Research design is an architectural theme. Research design is a backbone which provides the complete skeleton of how the research will be done. Research design is such a significant step that without it, nothing will happen. You have done your problem statement that stress and performance are related. You say during your hypothesis that stress increases the performance or decreases the performance. That is your hypothesis, which is to be tested, a testable assumption. Then comes your research design, which will give us the blueprint how the research will succeed and proceed. After your research design, you realize that there may be more study required for ensuring a better problem statement or ensuring a better hypothesis formulation. That is why research design is called the backbone of the psychological research. Once the research design has been formalized, on it depends this another step, that is sampling or sampling design. What kind of sampling will go and do will depend on the research design which we have. If it is experimental design, and that too what type of experimental design, then sampling design will be different. If it is a correlational study, the sampling design will be different. After the sample or sampling design has been ensured, then we go to another step, that is data collection. In this phase of data collection, we see that there are various methods of data collection, which are interview, questionnaire, survey, which is mentioned in your syllabus. These three primarily, there may be more of that. Interview, questionnaire, survey, maybe case study as well, we do for data collection. Once the data collection has been done, then next step after data collection, then comes your statistical analysis. In this step of statistical analysis, we see the terms like t-test, ANOVA, factor analysis. All these are there in this statistical analysis. We'll do these topics separately, but let me tell you one thing very clearly, that t-test, ANOVA, factor analysis and two-way ANOVA, correlation, regression, these topics, if you have prepared well, just understood the essence, the concept, you have understood certain mathematical formula here and there, not everything, few graphs, and after that you have jotted down the 4-5 important points, then you end up getting more marks than other regular questions from your cognitive psychology or social psychology or even applied psychology. Because applied psychology anyway requires lots of hard work. You have to give in lots of examples from your real life, lots of examples from your general studies, many examples where interlinkage is there, and paper one also, the complete coverage of the syllabus needs to be there, and you have to interlink each and every topic. Statistical analysis done. After that, what we'll do, the interpretation of the data. Interpretation and RW, report writing. You write the report. These are the steps. Unfortunately, these all steps are not separately taught the way I have dealt it. Largely in the name of statistics, mathematics is introduced to you, which you generally are unable to connect, and that's why there is no connection. There are so sections created in the psychology syllabus, which is absolute nonsense. Psychology should be taught in an integrated manner. Just one section of psychology is taught, that is cognitive psychology, well, at most of the places. And unfortunately, the thing is that many of the students are also liking it. So that should be avoided. This integrated approach is required. Now we'll move to our next section, which is your methods of data collection, which you've already dealt. And research design, under the research design, which was the most fundamental of all the steps, comes your experimental design and ex post facto, which is nothing but correlational. Ex post facto, something which has already occurred, for that making correlations. So these two are important. We'll see the difference, and you see the most of the questions which I have already analyzed for you is that the comparison is being asked, the basic comparison is asked. After this comes your next topic, which is your item response theory, IRT, item response theory. Some questions from parametric and non-parametric test that we'll cover. One topic from last chapter is remaining, which I had kept, grounded theory, which is very easy. And these three steps are there that will be covered. I've just given you an overview of how things will unfold. Okay, so we'll take the next session tomorrow, but then this chapter and parts of your method measurement of individual difference, I'll try to finish both of them. That all will be covered from the point of view of your PTQ, prepare through questions, so that your fundamentals are prepared and you get better marks. Thank you very much for joining. Keep studying well.